Born in Austin, Texas, Terry O Neill entered Rosemary Hall in the fall of 1967, a time of great social and political unrest. Just 3 years earlier, Betty Friedan's nonfiction book, The Feminine Mystique, was reviving a new wave of feminism and a sexual revolution in our country. In 1964, singer-songwriter Bob Dylan released the title track of his third album, The Times They Are A-Changin', characterizing the spirit of a new generation. And in 1966, Friedan became a charter member and first president of the National Organization for Women, whose mission since its founding has been to take action to bring about equality for all women. At a time when our honoree could easily have been driven to distraction by the unrest around her, she was diligent, focused, and intellectually engaged. Her senior seminar paper on modern utopian and dystopian novels, genres of literature that explore social and political structures, was detailed and thoughtful. Former English faculty member Ann Neslage, who was Terry's teacher and advisor, was impressed by the discipline and the energy that she brought to her schoolwork. Said Neslage, "This is an original, creative, sensitive, and thoroughly delightful individual. A very good student indeed, and a joy to teach as well as to advise." Terry contributed much to life at Rosemary Hall, participating in the school's dramatic productions as the ship's master in Shakespeare's The Tempest, and a leading role in Arsenic and Old Lace. Then headmistress Alice Mackby said of her, "No one should be misled by Terry's appearance into thinking that she is simply a tiny, vivacious, scatterbrained child. She has a mind like a steel trap, high intellectual interests, and the self-discipline and determined drive necessary to accomplish her clearly established goals. She leavens serious concerns, both public and private, with humor, but never underestimates their importance." Terry attended Northwestern University, graduating with a bachelor's degree in French with distinction. She then earned a law degree, magna cum laude, from Tulane University, became a law professor, and taught at Tulane and at the University of California at Davis, where her courses included feminist legal theory and international women's rights, in addition to corporate law and legal ethics. Her activism began in the 1990s. A longtime proponent of grassroots advocacy, she has always seen the National Organization for Women as the grassroots arm of the women's movement. She was past president of the Louisiana and Maryland chapters of NOW, and a member of NOW's National Racial Diversity Committee. She served on the NOW National Board twice before she was elected national president in June of 2009. The largest organization of feminist activists in the United States, the National Organization for Women, has 500,000 contributing members and 550 chapters in all 50 states and the District of Columbia. Since its founding, NOW has been true to its mission to bring about equality for all women by working diligently to eliminate discrimination and harassment in the workplace, secure abortion, birth control, and reproductive rights for all women, eradicate sexism, and promote equality throughout our society. A skilled political organizer, Terry worked on Hillary Clinton's campaign for the Democratic national presidential nomination, Barack Obama's presidential campaign, and the campaign leading to the election of Louisiana's first U.S. Senator, Mary Landrieu. For her unwavering commitment to social justice, to empowering women, and to achieving constitutional equality for women, we are proud to present the 2011 Choate Rosemary Hall Alumni Award to Terry Ann O Neill, Rosemary Hall, 1970.
That's just gorgeous. Thank you so much. I can't believe someone dug up that paper on utopias and dystopias. That's just really amazing. Well, I want to say special thanks to Woody Lakend, who is here today and who I've just been getting to know recently. A really remarkable individual, and I think an example of what is so wonderful about Rosemary Hall, to tell you the truth. Tony James, congratulations on your award here. And I also want to thank especially Rhea Hirschman, my former teacher at Rosemary, who is here today. I think that Rhea bears some responsibility for where I am today and how I got there. I suppose I wanted the professors were the teachers that I had at Rosemary Hall. Rhea, Fayetta McCown, who, and it was the 60s, you know, I know that her name was Fayetta, her first name was Fayetta, but to me her first name was always Miss McCown, and Miss Neslage, Ann Neslage, who became a very good friend and was a wonderful teacher. Alice Macby, our headmistress, encouraged her teachers to challenge the students at Rosemary Hall, to push us to think critically, to push us to consider really what it was we were saying, what it was we were reading, and what did we really mean. Miss Macby encouraged her students, all of the girls at Rosemary Hall, not just to think critically, but inevitably to question authority, sometimes to her own chagrin. Certainly, sometimes to the chagrin of my parents, who had to put up with a lot of my critical thinking when I was 15 and 16 and 17. And as my sister Sally, who is here today, and I'm so grateful that she came here to be here with me today, as Sally, I think, recalls very distinctly, there was a time, and I was probably 16, when I distinctly remember saying to my parents, you know, Mom and Dad, what were you doing in the Civil Rights era? And just pause for a moment, it was like 1967 or 68. The Civil Rights era was not actually over, but I was 16, in my mind it was kind of in the ancient history, and I said, and my parents were from Texas. And I said, what were you doing during the Civil Rights era? Were you part of the problem, or were you part of the solution? And I think it was at that moment that my mother, it began to dawn on my mother that although she was raised in Texas all her life, and that she was not raising her children in the South, and that was actually going to have some meaning for them. Well, so the habit of critical thinking and questioning authority has actually followed me to where I am today. I just will tell you very briefly one of the things that happened. People ask me sometimes, you know, where is now on the political spectrum? You know, where does now fall? And I usually have to tell them, frankly, the National Organization for Women falls more on the obnoxious end of the political spectrum because we are the grassroots arm of the women's movement. We're the ones with the big signs. We're the ones that go marching up and down in front of the Walmart stores and in front of the White House. But recently, I knew I was doing my job when, it won't take very long for this story. Elizabeth Warren, how many of you know who Elizabeth Warren is? All right. So she's an absolutely brilliant bankruptcy law professor from Harvard who is now the head of the Consumer Finance Protection Bureau. It was a hard fight to get that bureau created as President Obama was trying to revamp our regulatory system for financial institutions, and now was a very strong supporter of Elizabeth Warren, and we wanted her to be named the head of it. And we knew that there was a lot of political blowback against it. And I did not actually publicly say the president was sexist. I want to go on record as saying that I didn't say that, but we did put out an action alert to our 170,000 supporters online, simply asking the question. You know, we said, is there sexism involved in Elizabeth Warren, in all this resistance to naming Elizabeth Warren to head this agency? It was a question. 2 days later, I went to the White House for a reception completely unrelated to this issue, and I saw the woman who was a friend of mine, but her boss, she works in the White House, and she fussed at me about it. And I guess I was just not in the mood to get fussed at, and I got right back up in her face and started explaining all the statistics and all the reasons why Elizabeth Warren should have this job, and I was on my talking points, and I'm going through them, and I said something that hit her really the wrong way, and she got very mad, and she started yelling at me at this reception in the White House. And it was over in a few minutes, but Eleanor Smeal, who was a former president of the National Organization for Women, observed this. Several people did. And she walked over to me and said, "Terry," I'm not going to say the woman's name, Terry, why was she yelling at you? And I said, "Ellie, her job is to protect her boss and to fuss at anybody who criticizes her boss. My job is to get yelled at." I said, "So we were both doing our jobs, and it's all fine." And Ellie was not exactly amused, but she said, "Okay, if that's where it goes." I suppose, as the president of Now, it is my job to stir up questions, to stir up questioning of authority, and frankly, Rhea, it's kind of your fault. So thank you so much for this honor. It is really a true honor, and I appreciate it.